Hello, welcome to this information session about arts grants for teachers. My name is Bree Sargent, and I am the Education Director at the Acadiana Center for the Arts.
And my name is Kojevnikov. I am the Community Development Manager here at Acadiana Center for the Arts.
And we will be your tour guides through this information session today.
I'm going to start sharing my screen so you can all see where we're at.
Arts Grants for Teachers is a program of the Acadiana Center for the Arts through our partnership with the Lafayette Parish School System. So this program is eligible only for educators who work for the Lafayette Parish School System. The purpose of Arts Grants for Teachers is to encourage educators to design and develop artistically creative and innovative projects involving the visual or the performing arts. So with Arts Grants for Teachers, we're looking for projects that might help develop understanding and an appreciation of the arts. It might complement other arts-related activities that are already being implemented in the schools. Might be a partnership with the music teacher or the art teacher or the theater teacher. It could provide direct student involvement in the arts, so the kids are actually participating. It could also develop permanent art resources for your classroom or school. And it might integrate the arts into other academic disciplines or provide support for teachers to become more proficient in the arts. So there's lots and lots of options for these grants.
So who is eligible to apply for these grants? As Bree already mentioned, you must be at a school that is funded by the Lafayette Parish Public School System. And within those schools, you could be a teacher, a librarian, or a guidance counselor. It does say that it's an arts grant for teachers, but we're really looking for educators here. And it must be anybody who's directly instructing students within those programs. So we have 3 different request amounts that you can ask for. If you are an individual teacher and you want to take on a small project, we have $750 for you to spend on a project. For a shared grant between 2 or more teachers, you can request for up to $1,500, and this can be between 1 or more schools. So if you have a partner school, you want to do a project with them, this is a great opportunity. And finally, you can apply for up to $2,000 for a larger scale project. And this is culminates in an exhibition at next year's Art Expo, which will be in May of 2025. March of 2025, excuse me. And this one will require at least 3 teachers participating and at least 3 classes participating.
So let's dig into what those arts grants categories could look like. To be clear, there isn't a set amount of funding in each of these categories. Sometimes teachers say, which one gets the least amount of requests? You can request whichever category you're looking for. We're just trying to give you a bit of a framework for how to think about your project. So number 1 is an Artworks grant. This involves students in pretty much any art form, and it could include production, performance, organization, or development of the project. This is something often you hear art for art's sake. It's just giving students an experience in the arts. This is a great place to bring in a teaching artist. ACA has an amazing team of teaching artists who work in every art form and in every grade level, who you could actually bring right into your classroom. And you can find more information about those teaching artists and what kinds of things that they teach on our website at acadianacenterforthearts.org. Those teaching artists are also great for a number 2 integrated arts grant. That is a place where you're incorporating the arts into your regular academic instruction, into your math class, into your biology class, into your English class. So a lot of our teaching artists have a lot of experience in that. And if you aren't sure who you should reach out to, that is a great question for us. Feel free to reach out to us and find out who might be the perfect person to work with you on one of these grants. Category number 3 is a resource grant. Maybe you are the expert and you just need stuff. You just need art resources, or you need some kind of digital tools, or you need non-expendable equipment like a small printing press or an amp or something like that. This is the project area for you. One thing to note on this project, though, is you might just think, oh, wow, I need new music stands. But for this particular grant, you're going to need to tell us how you're going to use those music stands for a project or a performance or a program in this school year. So that's just something to think about when it comes to resource grants. If you're not quite sure if this fits, please feel free to reach out to us before you write the grant. Another category, number 4, is a training grant. Maybe you want to learn more about printmaking so that this is something that you can do with your students year after year. A training grant would provide arts education training by a recognized expert in an arts discipline. So this would actually be someone coming in to work directly with you and not necessarily your students. But please note that there is an expectation that you would be using this, and we would want to know how you would be using this in teaching. So think about that educational component to be implemented upon completion of the grant cycle.
So next, we have a checklist of things that you are going to need when submitting your application. So before you submit, make sure that you have a statement of support from your school principal. So this could be preferably a typed letter on school letterhead and with the principal's signature. So it does need to be officially signed off by the principal. If you are using a teaching artist, we also would like a statement of support from that teaching artist. If you are describing an art resource material that you'll be purchasing, we just want a little bit of information about what that is. Mainly, this is for things that are not regular materials that you would need. So if it's a ream of paper, we don't need an explanation. But if it's a particular printing press, as Bree mentioned, we would just like some information about what it does so that the panelists can really understand what the money is being spent on. Any individuals working directly with students and paid through by the grant, we would like to see resumes for them. So anybody who is not necessarily a teaching artist, but who will be working with your students, they're the types of resumes that we'd be looking for. Teaching artists, we already have vetted them. We know who they are. So we don't need their resumes. And finally, any teacher who is directly involved with the instruction for this project. So if you're one of those 3 teachers for the 1 teacher for the $750, 2 teachers for the $1,500, or 3 teachers for the $2,000 limits, we would require resumes or bios for the application. And we just want to remind you that these grants are competitive. So just because you're submitting an application doesn't necessarily mean that you will be funded. These grants are reviewed by a panel based on grant criteria, which we will go through. So please review the guidelines and ensure that you're answering all the questions that they're asking that correspond with those guidelines. A good thing to know is that there isn't a limit on the number of applications per school or teacher. So if you have multiple ideas that you want to complete in this cycle, please submit as many grants as you think is feasible. But also please note that each application must be submitted. There must be a new application for each of the projects that you're planning on submitting.
So let's talk about those evaluation criteria. These are listed, and you will see that this is actually how the grant application looks. So number one, with a weight of 40%, which is the highest percentage of all of these areas, is your approach. What are you going to do? We're looking for proposals that are well-planned, well-designed projects. We're looking at what is the expertise of educators and the artists. That's why we're looking for those resumes for educators if you're going to be actually teaching an art part of the arts project. Is it realistic? Can you actually get this done in the time that you say you can? So we're looking for what that kind of timeline is within the school year. Number two, educational and artistic or academic relevance with a weight of 20%. Why is this important that your students do this, have this experience, learn this, or that you have this experience if it's a resource grant? What is the impact on teacher practice and on student understanding? We're looking for how you might think about evaluating this. Is there a connection to your curriculum, either in your art form or in a different academic area? And then what is the artistic merit of the proposed project? Is this something that the students are going to get a lot out of in a particular artistic area? Moving on to number three, the budget. Simply, is it an appropriate request level and an appropriate use of the funding that you're proposing? Does it make sense that you need this particular printing press, or could you just do this printing press? So think about all of those things when you're thinking about your budget. And then we're looking for the results. What at the end of this all has happened. That impact might be large, it might be small, but what are those impacts? What does that look like? What have the students come out of this with? And are there plans for increased access, participation, and exposure to the arts for students? So much of the work that we all do in the arts is about advocacy, and the more opportunities we provide for students, the more they might want, which is great. So think about that while you're building this grant project proposal.
So some other important information to consider when submitting your application is that any recurring or traditional school productions and exhibitions are not generally eligible. So if you have a yearly production of Aladdin at your theater, then that's not going to fly. This is really for one-time new projects that we can help you get off the ground. The funding cannot be used towards salaries for school administrative or teaching staff. The artwork grants and integrated arts grants projects must allow for contact between the artist and the students during regular school hours. This isn't for after-school programs. This is for day-to-day schooling. However, if there is a reason for why it has to be outside of school hours, please contact us so that we can figure out whether it actually fits in with this program. The teaching artists that you bring into the school, they cannot be used to fill other teacher vacancies. The teacher must be present at all times during the grant activities. So there must be a teacher there to supervise at all times. And the project and any resulting materials become the property of Lafayette Parish School System. A few more items. Please don't ask for more than the amounts that are listed. $2,000 is the absolute max. Please note that the decision process takes approximately 1 to 2 months. By the time we gather all the information, disseminate the information to our panelists, they have a chance to review it, and we sit down and have a chance to assess together during the grant panel discussion. It can take a couple of months. But you will know before the start of the cycle, which is October 1st. So the grant review panel consists of administrators, educators, artists, and community members, a mix of all of these people who have expertise in different areas of arts and community building. The panelists may suggest some adjustments to approve your project. After the panel, they may consult with you to determine a viable option for the production of this project. And please just ensure that you keep copies of your completed application. It's really handy to have on hand when you're going through the cycle and you want to just remember what you wrote into the grant so that, you know, you're really sticking to what you agreed that you were going to do.
So dates to remember. Anna just mentioned the funding cycle does begin on October 1st of 2024 and it runs through May 31st of 2025. That means that any grant funds cannot be expended outside of that time period. So don't go out and start buying things in September because it will not be allowed. The application deadline is October 30th of 2024 by 4 p.m. via online application.
August 30th.
It is August 30th. Look at me. Thanks, Anna. This is why you're in charge. Application deadline is August 30th. It's a Friday right after school starts. So there you go. The notification date will let you know by the end of September so that you will be ready to start your project on October 1st. So who's ready to apply? Are you? Applications are open now at Acadiana Center for the Arts, arts.org. You've probably already found it if you have found this video. So it's time to apply. Let's do it.
And, you know, if you need any assistance at all, Bree and I are at your disposal. Bree is the best person to talk to about your project ideas. And she'll be able to help you craft your idea depending on the number of people that are involved and the funding that you plan to go for. Whereas I'm better able to assist you with the technical assistance with the form and any of the attachments that you'll be putting into the form. However, if you can't get a hold of one or the other, please contact the other person and we'll communicate whatever we need to help you out.
So good luck to you. I hope all of you apply for a grant this year and bring the arts into the lives of your students and for yourself. The arts make learning fun. They make learning accessible. This is a great way to get your kids engaged and excited, as well as you. So we encourage you to do this. Please do contact us if you have any questions, if you have any ideas, or if you just want to talk. We look forward to hearing from you and good luck with your grant application.
We look forward to receiving your submissions and yeah, we hope we get lots of them this year.